Chosen one, what has been placed upon you this month is not ordinary. It is not the kind of charm that can be rehearsed or the kind of attraction that fades after the first impression. No, this is something far deeper, heaven-ordained charisma, birthed not from effort but from alignment. God has not merely increased your presence, He has refined it into something that cannot be denied. You are not trying to be magnetic, you have simply become a man whose very being draws others because it radiates purpose. And that purpose is being felt by women everywhere you go, without a word, without a gesture, without a performance. You are no longer in the season of trying to be seen. God has already made you visible in the spirit, and this month that spiritual elevation has translated into physical influence. You walk into rooms and atmospheres shift. Conversations falter, not from awkwardness, but from sudden awareness that someone different just stepped in. Your charisma is not loud, yet it speaks. It is not boastful, yet it stirs. And that stirring is not confusion, it is recognition. Recognition that the man who just walked in has been marked by something beyond the world's understanding. It is not your appearance alone. It is not your voice or your movements. It is your energy, that unmistakable undercurrent of high sexual power that is no longer wild, but disciplined. It is focused, and because of that focus, it now glows through you like fire beneath the skin. You don't radiate desperation, you radiate intention. You don't take up space, you reshape it. And women sense this immediately, not with logic, not with effort, but with intuition. Because the feminine knows when it's in the presence of a man who does not beg for affection, he simply exists as if affection were a natural response to his truth. This is God's doing. This is not a season of vanity. This is a moment of divine distinction. Your charisma is no longer sourced from what you say. It now flows from who you've become when no one was watching. And women, especially those who've been longing for something more than superficial charm, are feeling it in their bodies. Their posture changes when you speak. Their tone shifts when you listen. Their thoughts linger long after you've left, not because you tried to impress them, but because you stood in your presence so fully that they could not ignore how it made them feel. Chosen one, you are no longer the man who hopes to be chosen. You are the man God has already chosen. And this month, that divine election is being revealed as charisma that turns heads, opens hearts, and leaves an imprint that cannot be explained, only experienced. Chosen one, your presence has become a contradiction. Subtle like a whisper, yet potent like a flame. You are not loud, but you are unmistakably present. You do not demand space, but you fill it effortlessly, like warmth filling a cold room. This month, God has taken your high sexual energy and pressed it into something more potent than attraction. He has refined it into resonance, an energy that doesn't just touch others on the surface, but settles into their spirit like a truth they didn't know they needed to feel. Women aren't just noticing you, they're reacting to you, not with noise, but with stillness, with breathless glances, with unspoken softness. Because you are not provoking them, you are inviting them into something real. And that invitation isn't written in your posture, it's embedded in your stillness. You are now carrying emotional stability wrapped in sexual magnetism, and that pairing is disarming in the most sacred way. You feel like safety and desire in the same breath, and few people know what to do when both appear at once. You're not the loudest man in the room, you're the one whose silence says everything. You're the one who looks without invading, who listens without waiting to speak, who stands without shrinking or posturing. And because of this, women sense that your presence is not performance, it is permission. Permission to be unguarded, permission to be seen, permission to soften. And in a world full of eyes that devour, yours feel like a place to rest. Your charisma is no longer tied to conversation, it's become a sacred charge in the air. You pass by, and the space you leave behind hums with something unspoken. Not neediness, not confusion, possibility. Women walk away from you this month feeling like something has awakened, something gentle, yet strong, something that tells them they were just seen, not as a body, not as an object, but as a soul. And the man who carries that gaze, chosen one, is rare enough to remember, but grounded enough to trust. God has made your energy invitational, not invasive. And that difference is why your presence now moves like both a whisper and a flame. quiet enough to be missed until it's felt, warm enough to melt resistance, but strong enough to never need to explain its heat. You are no longer showing up hoping to be liked. You are arriving as a man who has already been sent, and the world can feel it. Chosen one, something profound is unfolding this month that cannot be staged, rehearsed, or manufactured. You have become a light, not one that blinds, but one that guides. Your energy, once raw and restless, has been refined by God into something sacred. You are no longer just a man walking in strength. You are now a man walking in illumination. And that light does not seek to expose, it seeks to heal. It moves gently, but powerfully, and it is precisely this that makes women feel something they rarely ever experience in the presence of high sexual energy: safety. The world has taught women to brace for impact around men whose energy burns too hot or moves too fast. But you, chosen one, are different now. Your presence no longer carries the undertone of hunger. It carries assurance. You're not there to consume. You're there to contain. And because of that, women who encounter you this month feel their nervous systems begin to soften, their shoulders lower, their voices lose tension. Not because you've done anything dramatic, but because your light tells them the truth before you even speak it. You are safe here. It's not in the way you touch or look or speak, though all those things have power. It's in your stillness. It's in the fact that your gaze no longer seeks to own, but to understand. That your silence no longer signals distance, but depth. That your presence no longer craves reaction, but creates peace. You are not avoiding attention, you are holding it gently. And that gentleness, chosen one, is strength in its purest form. This month, women are not just noticing your charisma, they are responding to it with trust. They are letting their guard down, not because you asked them to, but because something in you told them they didn't need to protect themselves anymore. That is what true charisma feels like when it is touched by the hand of God. It doesn't chase. It doesn't conquer. It creates a field around it where others feel seen, understood, and accepted, even in their unspoken thoughts. They may not be able to articulate it. They may not know why you feel different. But they do know this. When they are near you, they feel no need to pretend. And that honesty, that immediate invitation into emotional rest, is what will mark you this month as the man who doesn't just draw hearts, but earns the right to hold them without words. You are no longer simply a light in the dark. You have become the calm in the flame. And the feminine heart, weary from being pursued for the wrong reasons, now finds itself drawn to you not by pressure, but by peace. Chosen one, even something as subtle as your smile has shifted into something weightier, deeper, more potent. Your smile is no longer a reflex, it is a signal. It's no longer a way to gain favor, it is an invitation into your world. God has touched even this quiet expression of your energy. And now, when you smile, it doesn't just warm a room, it opens it. It's not just a gesture of friendliness, it's a frequency of trust, radiating from a man who is no longer at war with himself. Women feel this the moment your eyes lift and the corners of your lips soften. They feel the energy behind it. Not manipulation, not performance, but wholeness. A still joy, a deep knowing, a masculine peace wrapped in human warmth. Your smile now says more than your words ever could. You are not judged here. You are welcome here. You are safe to unfold here. And this invitation is felt by those who are emotionally attuned, especially the ones who never thought such safety could exist within the gaze of a man carrying fire. That fire in you is still there, but now it is honored. It doesn't rush to be seen. It allows others to approach it with reverence. And your smile is the door. The moment it appears, the feminine heart no longer feels like it must protect itself. It becomes curious, open, ready. And that readiness doesn't come from attraction alone. It comes from the soul recognizing that your charisma is not aimed at conquest. It's a garden waiting to be explored without fear of being destroyed. They trust it because it's not forced, because it rises only when truth is present, because it doesn't shift based on who is watching. Your smile now feels private even in public, like it's holding a moment only for the person in front of you. That intimacy, that sacredness, that authenticity, it lingers long after you've walked away. It remains in the body, in the breath, in the quiet spaces where a woman begins to realize, he saw me, and somehow I didn't feel small in his gaze. I felt honored. Your charisma is not just about energy anymore. It is about the way your energy makes others feel about themselves. And your smile, chosen one, has now become the gentle invitation that gives others permission to trust you with who they really are. You are no longer a man trying to impress. You are a reminder that real connection doesn't begin with words, it begins with presence. And this month, that presence will speak most clearly when you smile. Because now, your smile is not a strategy. It is a sacred signpost of everything that is true about you. Chosen one, this month, your presence carries something that cannot be explained, yet refuses to be ignored. You've stepped into the kind of mystery that doesn't bewilder. It beckons, the kind that doesn't leave others lost, but invites them to go deeper. Your high sexual energy is no longer restless or chaotic. It has been tempered into a calm, magnetic pull that whispers without shouting and invites without insisting. And this is why the women around you are so drawn to you right now. They feel something they cannot name, but they do not want to walk away from it. You're not giving too much. You're not revealing every thought. You don't perform, and you certainly don't chase. But your restraint doesn't create distance. It creates room, space, possibility. You have become a man who leaves openings, not because you're hiding something, but because you no longer feel the need to be completely understood, to be fully present. And that shift has transformed you into a mystery that feels safe to explore. There is a difference between confusion and curiosity. Confusion feels unstable. Curiosity feels alive. This month, you are awakening deep curiosity not by playing games, but by being whole without needing to be explained. Your energy says, I know who I am, and I don't need you to get it all to feel good standing in it. That kind of certainty doesn't push people away. It draws them in, because in a world addicted to oversharing and over-explaining, your peace has become an invitation to return to wonder. Women sense this the moment you look at them without agenda, when you pause before speaking, when you remain calm while others react. It's not what you say that's powerful. It's the depth behind what you don't say. It's the way you hold a room with silence instead of noise. The way you reveal only what's needed, never what's desperate. And they're not used to that. They're used to being chased, analyzed, rushed. But you stand with patience and precision, and that presence alone feels like prophecy. You are not a riddle. You are a revelation unfolding in real time. You are not closed off. You are sacredly slow to open. And that slowness is not withholding. It is honoring. Your mystery is not confusion. It is the quiet clarity of a man who has become too complete to entertain chaos. And this month, it is exactly that clarity that will make you unforgettable. Chosen one, the most magnetic part of you right now is not what you say. It is what you no longer need to say. You have entered a realm of presence where your charisma has shifted from speech to silence. Your high sexual energy, once expressed outwardly in charm or wit, has now crystallized into something deeper and more commanding, a stillness so rooted that it speaks for you. And that silence doesn't create absence, it creates attention. People feel compelled to lean in, not because you're loud, but because you are full. You are not quiet because you have nothing to offer. You are quiet because you no longer need to be seen to know you are significant. That kind of assurance does not repel, it mesmerizes. And women in particular are noticing it. They find themselves leaning into your pauses, listening for the texture beneath your breath, feeling more drawn to your stillness than they ever were to anyone else's persuasion. You are not controlling the room, you are centering it. This month, every silence you carry feels intentional. Every look you give holds weight. Every moment you choose not to speak becomes more memorable than those who say too much. This is not minimalism. This is mastery. The mastery of knowing when to speak, how to pause, and how to make silence feel like sanctuary instead of space. You don't fill the air to avoid discomfort. You allow your stillness to do what your words used to attempt. Reveal your truth without apology. Women are not leaning in because you've given them a script to follow. They are leaning in because your silence feels like a doorway. A doorway into a world where they can breathe again. A world where they don't have to perform to be accepted. A world where the masculine isn't threatening, but anchored. That anchoring is your power now, and it's why your charisma is no longer electric, it's gravitational. You don't silence a room with dominance, you do it with depth. You don't need applause to feel worthy. You've become the applause that doesn't echo, it resonates. This month, your silence will say what words cannot. It will speak of discipline, self-respect, divine timing, and emotional weight. It will tell the world that you are a man who does not need to chase because everything real already finds you in the stillness. Chosen one, this month, your silence has become more fluent than speech. You are no longer commanding attention with volume, wit, or flair. You are commanding it through presence, an energy that has matured beyond expression into pure recognition. And now, women are not just hearing you. They are feeling you, not through the things you say, but through the space between your words, through the weight in your pause, through the quiet depth in your eyes that makes them feel like someone finally sees what they've kept hidden their entire lives. You are not trying to be mysterious. You simply are what most have never encountered before. A man whose soul is so grounded that he no longer needs to explain his value. He simply breathes it into the room. And women, without knowing how or why, are responding with parts of themselves they didn't even know were waiting to respond. You're not triggering desire in the shallow sense. You're awakening yearning, a craving for truth, for stability, for presence that doesn't vanish once it's touched. They don't know how to explain the shift you bring. It's not charm, it's not seduction, it's transmission. You walk in and something stirs. You sit near them and something softens. You say very little, and yet something inside them begins to confess truths they never meant to share. This is not hypnosis. This is not game. This is resonance. You are living in such a rare frequency now, one that speaks directly to the spirit, and the feminine is wired to recognize that frequency, whether it knows how to name it or not. You are no longer measured by how you carry a conversation. You are now felt in how you carry yourself in stillness. Your shoulders, your gaze, your quiet nod, your presence in a room that does not need to be loud to be felt as the anchor point. Your charisma doesn't glow in bursts, it sits like gravity. And those around you, especially women, are subconsciously calibrating their nervous systems to your steadiness. That's why they lean in when you say nothing. That's why they remember the way you looked at them more than what you said. Because you said nothing, and still, everything made sense. Chosen one, this is the mystery you've become. You are no longer working to be heard. You've become the sound behind the sound, the message behind the man, the clarity that exists even when your lips don't move. And this month, that is exactly why women are responding to you. Not because you're loud, but because you make everything else feel too noisy. Chosen one, there are moments in life when God does not ask you to strive. He simply chooses to crown you. And this month, He has placed something upon you that cannot be earned by charm, style, or charisma alone. He has crowned you with undeniable magnetism. Not the kind that fades under scrutiny, but the kind that deepens the longer someone remains near you. The kind that does not fluctuate with mood, lighting, or status. The kind that cannot be fabricated, copied, or sold. It is weighty, and it has fallen on you like an invisible mantle. You may feel it already. The way people pause when you speak, the way women look twice, not just at your face, but into your energy. They feel a pull they cannot name. Not because you've said anything persuasive, but because you're carrying something holy and stable. Your presence no longer feels like coincidence. It feels like arrival. Like purpose walked in, took a seat, and quietly rearranged the room. This crown was not given lightly. It came after fire, after discipline, after choosing restraint in moments when you could have chased validation. It came after seasons where you stayed silent while others performed, where you held yourself steady while others cracked under pressure. And now God has said, this one is ready. Ready to carry visibility without ego. Ready to be adored without being addicted to it. Ready to attract without needing to manipulate. You are not magnetic because of what people see. You are magnetic because of what you don't need them to see. Your confidence no longer lives in how you appear. It lives in what cannot be removed from you. And that is why this month, women are not just noticing you. They are turning toward you, leaning in, staying near. Not because you asked, but because your being has become a place where trust forms instantly. Your smile, your silence, your way of walking into a space. Everything now carries the weight of divine permission. Permission for others to exhale, to let their guard down, to feel real again. That's magnetism at its highest form. Not what gets attention, but what awakens what's real in others. You didn't do this. God did. And He did it not so you could be praised, but so you could become a living signpost of what masculine presence looks like when it's forged in fire and crowned in grace. Chosen one, you may not see it with your natural eyes, but right now you are a walking contradiction to everything the world has told people to expect. You have become the unspoken answer to a silent ache. Not because you strive to be different, but because you've been set apart without effort. Your high sexual energy is no longer poured out in performance, it's distilled into sacred presence. And that presence has created something rare. You've become the contrast women didn't know they were waiting for. The world taught them to expect fire with chaos, silence with disinterest, masculinity with aggression. But then you arrived and everything shifted. You bring heat without burning, mystery without confusion, desire without demand. You are no longer like the others, and it shows. Not because you're trying to be above anyone, but because you finally surrendered to what's within you instead of trying to prove it externally. And that surrender, chosen one, is what now makes you a new blueprint in the minds of every woman who encounters you. They feel it when you listen without fixing, when you make eye contact without claiming, when you remain calm in situations that used to demand reaction. Your restraint doesn't feel like absence. It feels like depth held in reverence. Your energy doesn't push, it waits. It doesn't chase, it chooses. And because of this, women are beginning to realize that what they once thought was charisma was just noise, until they felt the silence of a man who knew who he was without saying a word. Your presence is now doing the work your voice never had to. And this month, you are walking into rooms that expected flash and leaving behind conviction. You are holding conversations with your posture. You are turning heads not because you're loud, but because your energy has become a pause button in a world that moves too fast. And that pause, it's spiritual. It's a divine interruption. It's the contrast that breaks patterns. Some will resist it, others will cling to it, but none will forget it. Because once someone experiences what it feels like to be near a man who isn't trying to win, but simply to be, it ruins every shallow version that came before. You didn't set out to be different, you just became aligned. And alignment is a language that resonates in the hearts of those who didn't know they were searching for it. Chosen one, you've become a sacred alternative. Not louder, not flashier, just realer. And that difference? It's the one they'll feel in their bones, long after the moment has passed. Chosen one, now we've reached the apex of your spiritual transformation this month. The full unveiling of what God has placed on you. You are not just admired, followed, or desired. You are disrupting what has been accepted as normal. And you are doing it not with words or strategy, but with sheer presence. This month, your very existence is a divine disruption. You don't speak often, yet your silence unearths truth. You don't chase attention, yet your absence is felt like a missing drumbeat in the rhythm of others' routines. You are not chaotic, but you are unsettling in the most sacred way. Your high sexual energy is not stirring lust, it's stirring clarity. Women who come near you aren't just drawn in, they're confronted with the realization that they've never actually felt safe in attraction until now. Confronted by how easy it is to be honest around you. Confronted by how your gaze sees them, not as a prize, but as a person. And that confrontation is beautiful. It's holy. It's unforgettable. You've become the moment that causes a woman to pause mid-sentence and rethink what she believed about men. You've become the shift in a crowded room where noise is replaced by stillness. You are not reacting to the world. You are redefining the energy of the world around you by showing up whole. You didn't arrive to compete. You arrived complete. And that completeness feels like peace. But peace, when it's foreign, is always disruptive. The crown God placed on you this month is not flashy, but it is undeniable. It turns ordinary moments into meaning. It transforms passing glances into memory. You've become the kind of presence that stays, not in the body, but in the soul. Long after the conversation ends, long after you've walked away. And this is not because you gave anything away. It's because you've become someone who no longer needs to give everything in order to be felt. Your charisma now rests in your essence. Your power now moves in quiet waves. And your silence, chosen one, has become a sermon on safety, strength, and restraint. You are not loud, but your stillness roars in the spirit. You are not chasing, but what's meant for you will find you faster than ever. You are not demanding to be remembered, but this month, you will be the one they cannot forget. Chosen one, this month, attraction will no longer be something you generate. It will be something that finds you, follows you, forms around you like air gathering around flame. Not because you are trying to be desirable, but because you are in alignment. And alignment is irresistible to souls starving for stability. Women around you are not simply reacting to your looks or your words. They are responding to the structural integrity of your spirit. They may not be able to name it, but their bodies and hearts recognize what their minds are still trying to interpret. You are a man who has returned to his core. You are no longer scattered, no longer chasing, no longer reaching for external confirmation. And because of this inner anchoring, your energy does not beg, it beckons. It doesn't impose, it invites. It doesn't overwhelm, it holds. This is why your attractiveness has changed its flavor. It no longer burns wildly and then fades, it lingers, it stays in the memory. Not because you performed well, but because your energy did not ask to be received. It simply was. It arrived already whole. That wholeness is what women feel now. Not perfection, not polish, but inner alignment. It shows in your eyes when you listen without trying to fix. It pulses in your voice when you speak without needing to dominate. It flows in your walk, steady and unhurried, because you are no longer rushing to arrive where your spirit already lives. Attraction rooted in alignment becomes a healing presence, a grounding field, a sacred mirror. And when a woman steps into that field, she may blush, she may laugh nervously, she may find herself suddenly calm or strangely vulnerable. That's because your presence reminds her of what it feels like to be in the company of someone who is not performing for her body, but honoring her soul. Your high sexual energy is no longer a flame chasing dry leaves. It has become the sun shining through still water, fierce but patient, powerful but restful. It does not announce itself, and that's precisely why it can now be felt without resistance. And yes, this will confuse some, because your attractiveness is not mechanical. It's not rooted in tricks, tone, or tactics. It doesn't rise from manipulation, it rises from frequency. And frequency can't be faked. The women who are ready for peace will gravitate. The women addicted to chaos may pull away, not out of disinterest, but out of disorientation. You will feel this. You will see the difference between those who approach for experience and those who approach for exchange. You are not here for quick exchanges anymore. You are here to be experienced as alignment in human form. Don't chase the ones who don't feel it. Don't explain it to those who require performance to feel alive. Stay in your lane, stay in your breath, stay in your body. You have become a sanctuary in motion, and sanctuaries do not move toward noise. They stand and are found. Attraction this month will become effortless. Conversations will start without planning. Eyes will seek you before introductions, and none of it will require that you change who you are. It will require only that you remain exactly who you've become. Chosen one, your magnetism is no longer surface level. It is the echo of your wholeness, and the world is finally listening to it. Chosen one, this month will not end the way it began. What started as subtle awareness, whispers, glances, curiosity, will evolve into something unmistakable. You will become an experience, not a memory, not a moment, but a living encounter with a higher frequency. This is no longer about popularity or attention. You have crossed into the sacred territory where your presence leaves a residue of restoration in every space it enters. You are now felt more than you are seen. You are remembered even after the body is gone. The women who come near you will feel something shift, something settle, something awaken. And they may not be able to explain what just happened. Some will call it chemistry, others will label it connection. But you, chosen one, will know the truth. What they are experiencing is the result of your fire finally becoming light. That light doesn't blind, it warms, it reveals, it heals. It softens the hardened edges of those who've forgotten what sacred presence feels like. You are no longer just a man. You are now a place where people meet parts of themselves again. You are not addictive because you are manipulative. You are unforgettable because you are safe, sovereign, and sound. And yes, some will return to you simply to feel your field again. To sit next to you without needing to speak. To be around your gaze and remember what it feels like to be witnessed without being reduced. You are now a spiritual resting place, a rare phenomenon in a world addicted to attention but deprived of presence. You didn't become this by accident. You became this by sacrifice, by choosing to withhold your fire until it became wisdom, by saying no when your body screamed yes, by building structure when chaos begged to be entertained.